In the lead-up to the opening of the 2014 World Cup, the talk was all about whether Brazil would be ready. Would the stadiums, built at enormous cost and finished at the very last minute, be safe? Would the country's creaky infrastructure bear the burden of 600,000 foreign and 3 million domestic tourists? And finally, and most worryingly, would there be a repeat of the mass protests that marred last year's Confederations Cup, the dress rehearsal for the World Cup? The mood was pessimistic.
Instead, the atmosphere has been more like this FIFA Fun Fest here in Sao Paulo. People are getting into the games, the World Cup is going well, the stadiums are holding up, the infrastructure is okay. The important thing for Brazil's Workers' Party is that this good cheer carries on into the election in October.
Generally, things have been smooth. This has been helped by public holidays in cities holding the games. There have also been fewer muggings of tourists than earlier feared. Instead, security concerns have focused on foreign fans. The protests too have been mostly muted. There have been a number of smaller ones, several of them violent, with mass protesters smashing a Mercedes dealership in Sao Paulo on Thursday, but they've been nothing like last year.
Actually, I think people have portrayed Brazil as a place where nothing will take place. The fact is that the stadiums, of course, they were ready in last minutes. Some of the infrastructure will ready on the last minutes, but that's the way that things take place in Brazil. You cannot expect that things will work in Brazil as they work in England or in Germany or in Holland.
Indeed, down at 25 de Março, Brazil's central market area, where vendors sell paraphernalia of the national team, the mood is upbeat. This Brazilian team is not so great, but sales have been good, traders say.
Animou muita gente brasileira aí, ó. Melhorou as nossas vendas, vendendo bandeirão do Brasil, vendendo corneta, vendendo aqueles moicanos do Brasil. Graças a Deus, né? Estamos na Copa e se Deus quiser a seleção é nossa. Hoje. A Copa do Mundo é nossa.
But others are not so easily convinced. President Dilma Rousseff was booed and abused by the crowd at the opening match. Brazilians, while avid lovers of football and the World Cup, remain concerned about the same things, what they say is poor quality education, public transport and security. Perhaps most importantly, the economy is struggling with persistent inflation and low growth.
A Copa, por lado, ela favoreceu o Brasil, né? Porque traz muito turista, muitas pessoas para cá para conhecer o outro lado do nosso país. Mas por outro lado, a gente fica muito triste pelas coisas que acontecem, né? Nossos hospitais, enfim, muitas prioridades que o nosso dinheiro poderia estar sendo investido e não está, entendeu? Então, por um lado, está sendo assim, o pessoal está alegre, mas por outro lado o pessoal está triste, está entendendo? Porque é aquilo, nosso governo poderia, né, aproveitar agora já, tipo, investir mais nos hospitais, assim, fazer muitas coisas que precisam ser feitas no nosso país.
So it's so far so good for the World Cup and for Brazil. The question for President Dilma Rousseff is whether or not Brazilians will carry this good cheer on into the elections in October. But 3 months is a long time in politics anywhere in the world, but especially so in Brazil. This is Joe Leahy for the Financial Times in Sao Paulo.